How World War II made the U.S. the world's banker. A financial shift hidden inside victory. In 1945, the war ended. Cities were flattened, factories were destroyed, governments were buried under debt. But one country stood financially taller than ever. While Europe was counting casualties, the United States was counting reserves. Gold reserves. By the end of World War II, America controlled most of the world's gold supply and held the largest creditor position on Earth. That wasn't an accident. It was the result of how the war was financed. Because when nations fight total war, they don't just burn fuel and ammunition, they burn money. And whoever finances that fire often holds the power when it's over. So how did a war that devastated half the planet turn the United States into the financial center of the modern world? Here's how it happened. Part 1. War is the most expensive thing on Earth. Modern war is an industrial event. It requires steel, oil, rubber, food, vehicles, ships, aircraft in staggering quantities. When Germany invaded Poland in 1939, Europe shifted instantly into survival mode. Budgets exploded. Britain and France began purchasing massive amounts of weapons and supplies, especially from the United States. At first, they paid in cash. When cash ran thin, they paid in gold. Literal gold shipments crossed the Atlantic. National reserves were being exchanged for time. But war consumes resources faster than most economies can replenish them. By 1941, Britain was close to exhausting its financial reserves. The problem wasn't courage, it was liquidity. And that's when the financial dynamic shifted. Part 2. Credit replaces cash. The United States was not initially a combatant, but its factories were running. American industry scaled at a pace the world had never seen. Automakers converted to aircraft production. Consumer plants shifted to ammunition and armored vehicles. Shipyards operated around the clock. Then came a turning point, the Lend-Lease Act. Instead of demanding immediate payment, the U.S. extended material support on credit terms. Weapons moved, fuel moved, food moved. Payment could wait. That decision changed everything. Because now the Allies weren't draining American resources, they were accumulating dollar-denominated obligations. By the time the U.S. formally entered the war after the attack on Pearl Harbor, its economy was already fully mobilized. Industrial output surged, unemployment vanished, GDP nearly doubled during the war years. Meanwhile, Europe was destroying infrastructure to survive. America was expanding capacity to supply it. When the war ended, the United States was not financially exhausted, it was financially dominant. Part 3. Gold concentrates in one place. During the conflict, another quieter shift occurred. Gold moved west. European nations fearing invasion or collapse transferred reserves to the United States for safekeeping. Much of it was stored in secure facilities like Fort Knox. By 1945, the U.S. held roughly 2/3 of the world's official gold reserves. That concentration of wealth had enormous implications. At the time, currencies were anchored to gold. Trust in money depended on bullion backing. If gold centralized in one country, financial trust followed it. Before the war, London had been the financial capital of the world. After the war, that gravitational center shifted across the Atlantic. New York emerged as the new hub of global finance. The war didn't just change borders, it reallocated monetary authority. Part 4. Designing a new financial order. Even before the fighting stopped, policymakers were planning the post-war system. In 1944, representatives from 44 nations met at the Bretton Woods Conference. Their goal: prevent the instability that followed World War I. The agreement they reached was transformative. The US dollar would be convertible to gold. Other major currencies would peg themselves to the dollar. This made the dollar the backbone of international trade. Two major institutions were created: the International Monetary Fund and the World Bank. Both were structured within a system anchored by American financial strength. Reconstruction loans, currency stabilization, development financing, all required access to dollars. The country that financed the war now anchored the peace. Part 5. The real lesson. Military victories end wars. Financial positioning shapes decades. Europe emerged from World War II militarily liberated but economically drained. The United States emerged industrially stronger, creditor-heavy, and gold-rich. That combination matters. When countries borrow in your currency, leverage builds. When trade clears through your institutions, influence compounds. When your central bank anchors the system, global crises circle back to you. World War II didn't just elevate the United States geopolitically, it institutionalized its financial dominance. And here's the deeper takeaway. Large-scale disruption creates structural winners, not because they avoided involvement, but because they positioned themselves at the center of supply, credit, and reconstruction. The battlefield determined the end of the war. Balance sheets determined the next 80 years. And in 1945, those balance sheets pointed decisively towards Washington and New York. That architecture still shapes the global economy today.